Well, guys, you know what they say. Once you go Jack, you can never go back. Sorry, Tom, but you're stuck with these films if they make more. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? What's going on? It is Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Wow guys, it's been like 2 weeks since my last movie review, new movie review for a new release. Apologize for that. Wow, I've been super busy, but there's been several other films I didn't get a chance to see and just had a lot going on. I'm sorry for the delay in getting this review up because I saw this movie 2 nights ago. Did not get a chance to review it, so sorry about that. I beg for forgiveness. But that said, guys, in this video, I am going to be reviewing Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. That's right, guys. The sequel to Jack Reacher, called Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, is now out in theaters. I caught a Thursday night showing of this movie. It is now Saturday night. Sorry about that. But yeah, the sequel to Jack Reacher, which came out back in 2012, is now available and now in theaters. And I was looking forward to this one, actually, guys, because I enjoyed the first Jack Reacher. I'll get into my thoughts on that film because I did review that a while ago. That was like when I first started this channel, so it's old review. But I'll get into my thoughts on that briefly. What I want to do, obviously, is get into this film and what's going on with this and like how this came to be a thing. Because we got a new director this time around. It's Edward Zwick or Zwink. I don't know his last name. What do you want from me? But it's not Christopher McQuarrie, because Christopher McQuarrie was, I'm guessing, busy directing Mission Impossible 5, which, good job, man. Yeah, that was a good movie. So he directed the first Jack Reacher, though, was McQuarrie. But Cruise is back in the lead role, and he's producing and everything, so it's all cool, right? Maybe. So guys, Jack Reacher Never Go Back is set, I believe, I read this online, it's set a couple years after the events of the first film. I did not know that. And it's based on the book by Lee Chow, as the first one was, but it's based on a different book, like a couple books later in the series, with the same title, Jack Reacher Never Go Back. And this film follows our titular character, Jack Reacher, once again played by Tom Cruise. He is on the run once again from the law once he gets involved with an army major played by Cobie Smulders, who is wrongfully arrested for espionage in this movie when the film opens. The two of them had teamed up on a separate matter, and now he learns that she's been arrested for espionage due to this incident that happened in the Middle East. He wants to clear her name, so obviously he is going to be on run from the law as they have to get down to the bottom of the mystery of what happened and why everyone's being accused of everything and so on. And that is Jack Reacher Never Go Back. That's all I'm going to say about this movie without spoilers. So if you've seen this movie, keep the spoilers to a minimum. So guys, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Well, what did I think about the first movie? Well, I must like it. I own it on Blu-ray. That's right. I enjoyed the first Jack Reacher. I remember when it came out in 2012. It was the last movie I had seen that year, and it cracked my top 10 list, actually. I really had a blast with this movie. At the time, it cracked my top 10 list. I don't know if it stood on my top 10. I don't know. But, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought Cruise was great in the role. I thought it felt like it had its own sort of like tone and style to it, and like the character was very different from, I guess, characters that are created in other typical action thrillers that we get nowadays. And I thought it was just really different. I just had a blast with it. The cast was great. There were some great twists, at least 2 of them thrown throughout this film that I think worked really well to this movie's strengths. And I just overall really enjoyed Jack Reacher. There's some great sequences in this movie. Great car chase sequence. The opening scene alone hooked me so well into this movie, and there's just like a great mystery behind it. And again, as I said, great twist, great build-up, great tension. That's what made Jack Reacher work really well. The problem here, guys, is that Jack Reacher Never Go Back doesn't have any of those things. That's right, guys. I'm not gonna, bite around the bush or anything. I did not care for Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I am not gonna stall it. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this movie. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, no, it's okay, go see it. No, don't go see this movie. Guys, yeah, I really didn't like Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I am so disappointed because I was really looking forward to this one, mostly because of how much I enjoyed the first one. It's not even like the trailers blew me away because they were cool, and I was like, yeah, I'm excited for Jack Reacher 2, but it's just like, nothing that made the first one so cool and exciting was in this movie. It just felt so different. It was so obvious that they had switched directors between this and the first film. They felt like two separately disjointed movies. This didn't even feel like the character of Jack Reacher, and that is ultimately the biggest slap in the face that this movie had for me, because it didn't feel like a Jack Reacher movie. It felt like Tom Cruise was just in this movie and honestly just there, and it didn't feel like any traits that made the character so awesome, save for the first 10 minutes of this movie. I think the first 10 minutes of this movie are really cool, and that felt like Jack Reacher Part 2. Then I would say from about 20 minutes in till the end of this movie, almost nothing else made this feel like a Jack Reacher movie. It's like Christopher McQuarrie directed the first 10 minutes of this movie and then just looked at the rest of the script and was like, nope, I'm done. Can't do this. Bye, guys. Sorry. Peace out. I'm out. I'm gonna go do Mission Impossible 5 right now. Better movie. And then they just got this guy, Edward Zwick, to come in, and he just wrapped shooting. I don't know, but that's how I felt about Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I'm gonna go as far as to say I saw this on a Thursday night. Two other films that I heard were significantly better than this were also playing in the same theater that I have yet to see: The Girl on the Train and The Accountant. I've heard pretty good things about both of those movies. I kind of wish I went to go see one of those two other movies. I'm gonna end up seeing one of them. Don't know which one, don't know when, but soon. But I wish I had seen both of them by the end of this month, because I didn't need to see Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I'm serious, guys. I was significantly let down. I'll talk about the good first off, because I got a lot of problems with this movie. All I will say is that, yes, while Tom Cruise is in this movie and is playing the character, it doesn't feel like the character, but it's great to see Tom Cruise in this movie, because does he kick ass? Are there some cool, exciting action sequences that did feel fun? Yeah, I'll give the movie that. There's a lot of that throughout this movie. I think it did feel, to an extent, it felt entertaining. There were some excellently crafted sequences. There's a really cool kitchen fight sequence in this restaurant that I thought was pretty cool. I thought the whole ending fight, although it was a little over the top, I enjoyed it, and I felt that it was cool to see Jack Reacher sort of meet his match, essentially. Like, it was really tough to face his final opponent, essentially, because the guy was a boss as well. The only problem is I didn't give a crap about any of the antagonists in this movie. So let's use that to segue into the cons I have with this movie, which, oh boy, there's a list of them. Guys, let's start off with one of the most obvious ones. This feels like one of the most generic, just like by the numbers action thrillers that I've seen in quite some time. And that's not a compliment at all. I mean that as a really negative thing. A lot of what happened in this movie, I feel I've seen done a dozen times before, probably including the Jack Reacher. Yeah, so there you go. And throughout this entire film, I'm sitting there and just waiting for something, that big moment like in Jack Reacher where there was a giant twist where you feel that certain characters you can trust, and they're like, nope, we're going to pull the rug right out from under you. Those characters, you can't trust them. They're evil. Okay, they're bad. I was waiting for that so much in this film, and I just didn't get it. I was waiting for that third act twist, that big surprise to just come bursting out at the screen at me, and I just didn't get it, and I was really, really let down throughout this entire film because I didn't get that. Going off of that, again, as I said, this doesn't feel like a Jack Reacher movie because I didn't get any of the traits that made the character so cool in the first film. None of that, almost none of that is present here. Again, as I said, the first 10 minutes, which, by the way, all of that is in the trailer. The best parts of Jack Reacher 2, featuring Jack Reacher, is all in the Jack Reacher 2 trailer, which sucks, in my opinion. There's two sequences. One where he's in a diner, and he beats the crap out of a bunch of guys. And there's another sequence where he's in, he's at an IHOP. Those are literally the first two scenes of this movie. Apart from those two scenes, everything else went down and down and down and just spiraled down and completely hit just rock bottom at some moments because nothing else felt real or genuine, and I just didn't get a sense of the character that the first film defined him so well to a T. I got aspects of him, like the fact that he's this just like, you know, this really quiet and reserved drifter who literally thinks ahead of every single thing. And maybe there's a cool prison escape sequence, and there's cool sequences sprinkled throughout this movie, but the fact that this movie is just so exposition heavy, I don't even think this film or the script or the screenwriters knew where they wanted to take the story, because it's going in all these different directions. The overall plot point of why these characters are on the run from the law, in the end, makes little to no sense to me, and is just so over convoluted and had so much going on and so many side characters or side threats that Jack Reacher just has to take down because he's Jack Reacher, and those are the only moments where I feel like he's Jack Reacher. Every other scene where he's having a conversation with characters, we don't have any of those moments like we had in the first film. In the first film, there's several scenes. There's one scene that hit me so hard because it really defined the character so well for me. He's sitting in a hotel with Rosamund Pike, who feels she has the whole case figured out. And then Jack Reacher literally looks deeper and deeper into the case and says, no, you got this wrong. I think this victim was doing this, or I think this victim meant to do this. And he actually had it pretty figured out because he's really freaking intelligent and he thinks deep into the intention behind everything. I was waiting for a scene like that throughout this entire movie, and I still left the theater waiting for that. I was really, really disappointed. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. Another thing, there were just other little moments in the first film that made it work so well. For example, like just lines, certain lines that character was given. One of the best lines of the first film was, I'm gonna beat you so hard, I'm gonna drink your blood from a boot. The way Tom Cruise delivered that line, I'm paraphrasing of course, that I don't remember the exact line, but just when he delivered that line in the theater, I just grew cold. And I was waiting for that line throughout this whole movie, and they gave that to Cobie Smulders' character. They gave her that same type of line, or that line that was just like, look, I'm a badass, like that type of line, and it just didn't land. It didn't land at all for me. I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know what they were going for. I don't know. That's the other thing I want to get into. Another reason why I felt this didn't feel like a Jack Reacher movie, because Jack Reacher is sort of secondary in a lot of scenes in this movie, where Cobie Smulders is given a lot more to do, and her character, there's a lot more importance to her character. And while I feel that's totally fine, I'm not a sexist, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have female characters rise to the top, but in a movie called Jack Reacher Never Go Back, when Tom Cruise plays second banana to Cobie Smulders, I'm like, nope. Sorry, didn't work for me. I loved her character, and I thought that her character worked well, and she felt strong, like a strong character. She felt intelligent, and I felt she was well developed throughout the course of the film. My problem is, I feel they wrongfully gave her more emphasis because they were trying to create that same type of Furiosa-ish character that Mad Max Fury Road did well, and that's the difference. Mad Max Fury Road, the same thing. Furiosa rose above Max and was slightly a more interesting character than he was, actually. But it worked in that film. Cobie Smulders is an interesting character, but there's not enough for me to say, yeah, I really love that character. I'm glad that she has more emphasis than Jack Reacher does in his own movie. Because of that, I was like, yeah, she's okay. But, like, where's Jack Reacher? Give me more Reacher, man. Give me more of those moments that he had in the first film. So that's ultimately, it's things like that that just didn't work for me in this film. Going off of that, I feel I hated every antagonist in this movie. None of them felt real or human or like they had any. Everything felt like a cartoon and a joke. I was really, really let down. None of them had any like emotional weight in the story, or I felt none of them were tied significantly into any of the events going on. I didn't get any of their motives at all, so I felt that was just a total waste. So they were awful. They worked well in the first film, not in this one. And finally, one of my biggest gripes with this film, this all ties into the script, guys. Biggest complaints, they give us a side plot, and I know this is a major focal point of the film, but they give us a side plot where Jack Reacher and Cobie Smulders' character, they're on the run with this young girl, and she's somehow related to Jack Reacher. That's all I'm going to say. Not only was she bad in this movie, whoever played that young girl character, her name was Sam in the film, I felt was just a total waste of time. That character could have been entirely removed from this movie and not a single difference would have been made, in my opinion. Totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. There were a few good moments they had with her, but her character made awful decisions and honestly just didn't hold well on her own, apart from one scene in the final sequence of this movie. Other than that, that character didn't work for me, and the acting was not that great at all. I didn't buy the chemistry between the characters at all. I just didn't feel it this time around, guys. There's some cool action sequences. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, but honestly, that's not saying much when the character itself doesn't have a much focus and just isn't given that much of an emphasis and just doesn't feel like the character that I loved so much from the first film. I just didn't get into this movie, guys. Honestly, most of it is the script, and a lot of it, I think, is the execution as well from the director. I don't think he did a perfectly good job. This just felt really rushed and just forced and just almost like really like a bore and kind of painful to watch at some parts. I just didn't have fun with this at all. And apart from a few moments, that's it. So, guys, that's all I have to say about Jack Reacher Never Go Back. I wouldn't recommend this one. It's definitely one of the biggest disappointments of the year. Not even close on the level of Jack Reacher, but they don't even compare. This one is so much better. Guys, Jack Reacher Never Go Back, generic action sequel that nobody's going to remember. I watched this Thursday night. I am struggling to remember most of this film. It's been 2 nights later, and I don't remember hardly anything from this movie. Hardly anything. Guys, Jack Reacher Never Go Back, I'm going to give it a very poor grade of a 6.75 out of 10 or a D+. It's not that great. It's really forgettable and really, really painful at moments, and I was really, really let down. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, Mike, 6.75 is honestly not that bad. On my scale, that's a D+, so that, just look at the letter grade. Not a good grade, okay? So there you have it. Guys, those are my thoughts on Jack Reacher Never Go Back. Are you guys going to go see this movie? Have you seen it? What did you guys think of it? Did you think it was bad? Was it just me? Or was it really bad? I think it was bad. So, guys, there you have it. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. Sorry for the lack of videos. I'm going to try to put stuff up. I'm so sorry. I've been super busy. Guys, I will talk to you soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you later, guys. Bye.